All right, guys. So CBS News released an investigative report on where the weapons are going in Ukraine. U.S. weapons into Ukraine. Where are they ending up? Now, kind of curious and interesting that, so they released the trailer for this. It's all over social media. Then on the CBS News main account where they originally posted it, they pulled the video. They deleted the tweet and pulled the video. That's very weird. And I was surprised when I saw originally the trailer because I was like, whoa, this kind of bucks the narrative that the entire media is going with about Russia and Ukraine. That, you know, these packages are viewed as absolutely necessary to defend democracy and freedom and go after the authoritarian menace that is Russia. But now, look, I lost count. What have we armed Ukraine and given them money and weapons 12 separate times? And every other week you look at the news and there's another time that we're arming them where, you know, I talked to my mom, who's the epitome of a normie voter. And originally she was like, yeah, I get it. Let them defend themselves. And I agreed with that too. But then by the time we got to package number 5, 6, 7, 8 and more, everybody's rolling their eyes and they're like, what? What? We got homeless people in this country and you're on like the 14th package or whatever, giving weapons to Ukraine. Well, now we know, and this was something, everybody was sounding the alarms about this on the left early on. And again, my position was, hey, I get, send them a round of weapons to defend themselves. I totally understand that. But by the time we got to package number 3 or 4, I was like, what? And the warning was, every other time in American history where we flood weapons somewhere, it always ends up in the wrong hands. I mean, Reagan and the Mujahideen is a good example. In Syria, when we armed moderate rebels, well, a lot of those weapons went to the hands of Al-Nusra Front, which is a branch of Al-Qaeda. So this happens time and time again. And the warning was, hey, in Ukraine, this might end up in the hands of the Azov Battalion, who are card-carrying neo-Nazis. And by the way, they're open about that fact. They're officially part of the Ukrainian National Guard, and they're neo-Nazis. Now, they say, oh, it's only a small percentage, but I don't know. Any percentage seems kind of bad to me. Now, I'm not making that point as like a propaganda point because there are also far-right elements in the Russian military. And I don't want to, downplay that fact. But the point is, we are arming the Ukrainian ones, and that's a problem, right? So anyway, having said that, let's look at this investigative report from CBS News on where the weapons are going.
In the past 2 months, we've moved weapons and equipment to Ukraine at record speed. Drones, grenade launchers, machine guns.
We're seeing this incredible, historic flow of weapons coming into Ukraine. Do we have any sense as to where they're going?
We don't know. There is really no information as to where they're going at all.
All this stuff goes to the border, and then kind of like something happens, it kind of like 30% maybe reaches its final destination.
30% reaches its final destination. So 30% goes to where it's intended to go. That seems like a problem to me. Now, again, I was in favor of that first round of weapons because Russia invaded Ukraine. You can't just invade a sovereign country. I was critical of the surrounding circumstance that got us to that point. I never would have expanded NATO to Russia's border in the first place. I think that was a provocative action. However, having said that, that doesn't excuse Russia illegally invading a sovereign country. So I understood, yeah, they have the right to defend themselves. Let them defend themselves. I have no problem helping them out in that respect. But again, by the time we got to package 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I was like, what? No, this is... And there's no tracking. There's no accountability. And now we know, journalists on the ground, about 30% of the weapons go where they're supposed to go. Well, where do the rest of them go? Where's the 70% going? I think that's a problem. I think that's a problem. And really, this has become a giant slush fund for the military-industrial complex, and they're getting phenomenally wealthy off of dumping these weapons into a hot war zone where we don't even know where the weapons are going. Guys, let's say, for argument's sake, if Ukraine ends up winning a war, or if Ukraine ends up negotiating some sort of settlement with Russia, who's to say that the extremist factions in Ukraine won't just coup Zelensky and take over power because they don't like the terms of the deal? And that could in part be because we arm them to the teeth. Seems like a problem.
30%? Are you concerned about weapons getting in the wrong hands?
I don't care at all whether that happens.
What sort of a unit
What? You don't care if that happens?
do you command? Can't say. Okay.
What kind of a unit do you command? I can't say. Gee, I wonder why they can't say. I wonder why they can't say.
They're like power lords, oligarchs, political players.
One of the biggest targets are convoys like this transporting weapons.
Вот там блокпост, где мы ехали, только что въебались сюда, прямо в пост. И за деревьями. Вот там парламент есть.
Europeans had come to believe that that project of integration had effectively meant the banishment of armed force. All of a sudden, not far from the borders of the EU, was the most significant war since World War II.
Wow, okay. So look, I should probably go and watch the entire thing. That trailer is very intriguing. And a lot of people are accusing this of like, oh, you're doing like Russian propaganda. What? What? By trying to track where the weapons are going, that's Russian propaganda? No, that should have been a provision of the bills in the first place. They should have said, well, we need to see where the weapons are going. Obviously, you don't want them falling in the wrong hands. You don't want them leading to more damage. Again, I was in favor of the first round of weapons for Ukraine to defend itself. After that, it got super sketchy. Now you look at it and you go, oh, well, after that first round, there shouldn't have been other rounds. And really, we should be prodding both sides to come to some sort of peaceful diplomatic negotiation and settlement. But we don't want to do that. Number one, the U.S. likes that this is going on because they think, well, this will weaken Russia. That's a big part of it. And number two, like I said, it's a slush fund for the military-industrial complex. And there are a lot of the donors to the politicians. So this does, just so everybody understands, this doesn't like absolve Russia. Anybody who bought the line that like Russia's, going Nazi hunting and so what they're doing is based. Total bullshit. I mean, that's real pea-brain stuff. So this isn't to excuse Russia or defend Russia in any way, shape, or form, but it is to say that facts matter and we should adjust accordingly to the facts on the ground. And this is very concerning to say the least. If you want to see me and Crystal Ball interview legends like Noam Chomsky, Cornel West, and more, subscribe to Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack. $5 a month gets you the video version a day early. Remember, we take 0 ad dollars for this podcast. Or you can sign up on Substack for free and get the audio version a day later. Link in the video description box below.